Polymer Clay TV. I am Elisa, and today I want to do some fun stuff with this new Punchinello that we got. It might be a little hard to see, but it's basically like little squares, very small squares, and you can use it like a stencil. But it's an amazing texture, and normally you would think, okay, well, let's take this and just put it on a plain sheet of clay and you have a nice texture. Well, you do. That's what this is right here. Just on a plain sheet of clay, and I have a beautiful texture that I could then add, powdered pigments to. I could add ink to it, anything I wanted to, really, to kind of highlight the texture. You can even use acrylic paint, anything. So, just you would rub it over and look at the amazing texture you get with it. It's just a really cool texture. However, you guys know me, and I like to think outside of the box and try different things. So we'll use this in a minute. We're going to make a pendant, but I just wanted to show you the possibilities, because there really are some really cool possibilities with this. Here's one where I crackled some of this copper leaf on some black clay, and all you do is you take some copper leaf and you lay it flat on your conditioned clay and run it through your pasta machine at continuous smaller settings. We actually have a video on that on our channel, so you can look for that. So that's all I did with this, and then I came back and I gave it the texture, which took it to a whole new dimension. I don't know how well you can see that, but it gives it almost like a reptile look. That's what I feel like it is. But it also can be used to give an even more of an aged look. Now, this is a piece I did here, and I used Chroma Crackle, and this is a different crackle medium than I normally use, because with the Chroma Crackle you have to paint the surface of polymer clay first. So that's the one difference. For instance, something like the Tim Holtz Crackle, or some of the other ones on the market, you just paint the crackle right directly on the clay and it'll crack. However, with the Chroma Crackle, you must paint a layer of acrylic paint on there, let it dry completely, and then add the Chroma Crackle. So it's an extra step, but you do get some really cool looks. This is the Chroma Crackle here, and it's almost like, again, a reptile look, of something that's very old, maybe a crazed piece of pottery, or a book that has been, a leather book. So it has a lot of possibilities. It can look like whatever you want it to, really. It just gives it a really nice aged look. Now, the more Chroma Crackle you put on there, then you get some bigger crackles as well. So, however, I wanted to take this a step further, so I'm going to cut off half of this just so we can play along. Let me move that out of the way, and let's move this in. And so I'm just going to lay the Punchinello. Now, Punchinello is actually sequin waste. If you've ever seen sequin dresses, this is how they're made. They punch out the little sequins, and what's left is this Punchinello Stencil. So I'm just rubbing over it with my rod because I want to impart the texture onto the clay. And you can kind of just give it, you don't have to be gentle with it. You can give it a little push, and then you just peel back. And look, it gives it a whole nother look. I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. It's cool on its own with the Chroma Crackle, but I think this mesh just takes it one step further and really kind of enhances that whole crackle look. So I really like that, and I want to utilize that. Oh, let me just show you this here. This is some Chroma Crackle as well that was painted and different things, but this is a bigger crackle. So you can see you can achieve the small hairline fractures, or something bigger like this, depending on how much of the chroma you use. We have an ebook on different crackle methods, and it's just whatever works right for you. I tend to gravitate towards what's ever easier, as you know. So with the Chroma Crackle, you do have to take that extra step. However, you get a very different look than some of the other crackle mediums. So it's worth it, depending on what technique you're going for. So, or what look rather you're going for. So I'm just taking some pearl clay here and putting it into this keyhole that we have, this mold that I really like. It's just a cool mold and it's really easy to work with. It's nice and thick. And I always use more clay than I need and shave it off. That's how I like to do it. And with this particular one, the hole is open, see, for the key, so you have to make sure you can remove that extra clay that's in there. And I do that usually with my finger, to be honest. And then clean it up while it's in the mold. Always clean it up as best as you can in the mold. It saves you work when it comes out. Just make sure, you know, you clean up all on the inside and don't miss any pieces when you're doing it. And I think that looks good. So to demold it, I just torque it and then gently coax it out. And there you have it. These would be gorgeous earrings on their own without even doing anything, but I really like the idea of seeing the crackle come through, but yet also having it on the background. So I was thinking I'd make something for the background, just a simple kind of circle. Let's see which one. That's too small. So you need to obviously get something that's big enough. And then I'm going to just give it a little push. Looks so cool. And then I want to add the keyhole on top. So it's very, very simple to make just, you know, something that's really, really cool. And you know what? I'm going to do the other side the same way. And while I'm doing this, there's these things on the market. You can get their little screw eyes, and they come in all kinds of colors. And obviously you want to pick one that goes with what you're doing, which would be copper in this case, because I used kind of a coppery paint. And so I want to embed these screw eyes in between the two, but I have to cut it first. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to work. So let me cut it. So I kind of line it up as best as I can. Give it another push. And so now you have it on the back as well as the front. And you can push that out. And that's when this screw hole, oh boy, screw pin or eye pin or whatever you want to call it, can fit in here. And it's got these little ridges on it, which makes it so much better when you're working with the clay. I have to look at it this way to make sure it's correct. There you go. Because when it has those little jagged edges, it's not going to pull out of the clay as easy. Like if it was just a straight piece, it would pull out of the clay really, really easy. So at this point, I would probably go bake this, but since we're on camera here, I'm going to move on and then kind of just give it a little antique-y and kind of give it some, a little more pizzazz. So I got just, these are just acrylic paints, and you can play with what you have. You can use pan pastels. This is the paint here that I used on the Crackle, so I'm definitely going to incorporate that. And you don't need much with these heavy body paints. These are really good quality paints. You can do it with the cheapy paints, but you know, always quality is always better if you can, you know. But if you can't, use what you have. That's what I do. That's life. Just use what you got. Well, anyways, I'm gonna kind of like stipple this around because I want this. I want a little bit of the pearl to show through, which is why I went with the pearl. However, I don't want it to look brand new while the back doesn't. You know what I mean? And so I'm just tapping off my brush. You really don't need a lot. You really don't. So, and at this point, you could come in and start wiping off anything that you don't like, if it's too bright. And now, I kind of like that right there. So let's do the sides. You want to make sure that your sides are done, because otherwise, you know, it just doesn't look right. So just make sure. If you need a little more paint, you can always, you know, go back and add that. And I'm working on these deli sheets because they're easy to throw away and not a lot of mess that way. And there you have it. Simple, simple pendant with a few easy peasy techniques. These are in the shop. I think we put it together with a set of 4 different ones that are kind of along these same lines, so you can use that if you want to check those out. The Chroma Crackle you can find online. I'll see if I can get you a link to it. It's definitely available on Amazon, and I think it's out of Canada. I think so. But it's definitely worth trying. You get a totally different look than you would from some of the other brands. And I'm all about, you know, different looks and trying different things and whatnot. So if you have leftovers, save those too, because those can become really cool pieces that you can incorporate into other pieces that you create. So have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed this, and come on over to polymerclaytribe.com. That's our Facebook group. And I'd love to see what you're making. Share photos and things. We always have giveaways. Every 500 new members, we do a giveaway. And we gave away a whole bunch of stuff in this last giveaway. We've given away a Never Need machine, all kinds of stuff. So definitely join us. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's really, really supportive and really talented. And so we'd love to have you join us at polymerclaytribe.com. And you can visit the shop at createalong.com. And the blog's on there as well. So thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next time.